बचपन से मैंने ये देखा है कि लोगों के अंदर दुख और दर्द ज़्यादा है और खुशियाँ बहुत कम है। तो ये मन में हर वक्त ये सवाल उठता था कि इतना दुख और दर्द क्यों ज़्यादा है, इससे किसको फ़ायदा मिलता है, कौन ये कराता है। फिर जब मैं उन चीज़ों को पढ़ने लगा जिनको हम धर्म ग्रंथ कहते हैं, जिनको हम हमारे शास्त्र और पुराण कहते हैं, उन सब ने दुख और दर्द में से निकलने का रास्ता बताया, लेकिन कभी ये नहीं बताया कि इतना दुख और दर्द क्यों है। सो जो भी आया वो सिर्फ यही कहने लगा कि तुम इस तरह से दुख और दर्द के बाहर निकल सकते हो। किसी ने ये नहीं कहा कि तुम्हारे अंदर इतना दुख और दर्द क्यों है। तो हमेशा ये सवाल मन में रहा, मेरा बैकग्राउंड में ही रहता था। तो लोगों ने कहा कि पूजा पाठ करो तो अपने दुख से बाहर निकलोगे, किसी ने कहा ध्यान करो तो अपने दुख से बाहर निकलोगे, किसी ने कहा कि अच्छे कर्म करो जैसे कि दान करो, गाय की सेवा करो, अपने माता पिता का सेवा करो, अपने बुजुर्ग का सेवा करो। तो इस तरह लोगों ने अलग अलग सल्यूशन पेश किया कि तुम अपने दुख और दर्द से इस तरह बाहर आ सकते हो। और बड़ा अजीब बात यह है कि मैंने देखा कि लोग ये सल्यूशन अपने जिंदगी में अपना नहीं पाते, लोग उसे प्रैक्टिस नहीं कर पाते। और जो लोग प्रैक्टिस करते भी हैं वो लोग भी दरअसल इस दुख और दर्द के बाहर उतना निकल नहीं पाते। तो ये मेरे लिए एक बहुत अजीब सा एक सवाल था कि व्हाई दिस सफरिंग, इतना दुख क्यों। यूं तो ये सवाल कहते हैं कि बुद्ध से भी पूछा गया, लेकिन बुद्ध ने कहा कि उसका एनालिसिस करके क्या फायदा मिलेगा, बल्कि इसके ऊपर तुम अपना फोकस केंद्रित करो कि तुम इसके बाहर कैसे निकल सकते हो। तो दरअसल उन्होंने जवाब नहीं दिया, और जवाब ना देने का कारण ये था कि उनको भी नहीं मालूम था कि एक्चुअल रीजन क्या है। फिर एक टाइम आया जब परमात्मा मेरे पास आए और मैंने परमात्मा के साथ काम करना शुरू किया। तो सबसे पहले परमात्मा ने कहा कि एक राजा है, ये राजा चाहता है कि इंसान हर वक्त दुख और दर्द में रहे। हमारे दुख और दर्द से जो खाना बनता है वो राजा के पेट में जाता है, और राजा कभी भी इंसान को दुख और दर्द के बाहर आने नहीं देगा। तो पहली बार 2015 के आसपास मुझे पता चला कि इस ब्रह्मांड का कोई राजा है जिसने हर तरह के धर्म को बनाया, मजहब को बनाया और आध्यात्म को बनाया। फिर पता चला कि ये जो राजा है इसने अपने बेटे शिव को पृथ्वी में भेजा और उससे कहा कि जाके उनको तुम दुख और दर्द के बाहर निकलने का रास्ता बताओ। तो वहां से शुरू हुआ हमारे जितने भी धर्म, मजहब और आध्यात्म, ये तीन का वहां से बनना शुरू हुआ। तो ये 10,000 साल पहले की बात है। 10,000 साल पहले, उसके पहले दरअसल धर्म, मजहब और आध्यात्म का कोई जरूरत नहीं था। क्यों जरूरत नहीं था? क्योंकि परमात्मा आने वाले नहीं थे। और जब परमात्मा के आने का समय हुआ, राजा ने इन तीन चीजों को एक एक करके बहुत अच्छी तरह इंसान के जहन के अंदर डाल दिया, उसके दिमाग के अंदर डाल दिया, उनको मजबूर किया कि वो पूजा पाठ करे या तो फिर वो ध्यान करे या योग करे। ये सब 10,000 साल के अंदर का खेल है। तो इंसान ने समझा कि दरअसल पूजा करना, ध्यान करना, योग करना सबसे महत्वपूर्ण चीज है जिंदगी में। लेकिन इन 3 चीजों के जरिए इंसान को ज्यादा कुछ मिला नहीं अपने दुख और दर्द से छुटकारा पाने के लिए। थोड़ा राहत मिल जाता है, जैसे कि मान लो आप सारा दिन काम करके थक के घर आते हो, रात को जब सो जाते हो, सुबह आप फ्रेश उठ के फिर से काम में जाने के लिए तैयार हो जाते हो। उसी तरह जब आप सारा दिन काम करके आते हो, आपके अंदर बहुत तनाव होता है, तो आप फिर ध्यान करते हो तो आपका तनाव कम हो जाता है, या आप पूजा करते हो तो आपका तनाव कम हो जाता है, या फिर आप योग करते हो तो आपके अंदर एनर्जीज आना शुरू हो जाता है। तो इसको हम कहते हैं रीबूटिंग। रीबूटिंग का मतलब होता है कि आपका कंप्यूटर फिर चलने के लिए तैयार हो गया है। तो जो भी हम पूजा पाठ करते हैं, जो भी हम योग करते हैं, जो भी हम ध्यान करते हैं, वो दरअसल एक रीबूटिंग है कि आप अगले दिन फिर से दुख और दर्द की दुनिया में वापस जाके झेल सको उन सब परेशानियों को। तो ये है जिंदगी। और जिस तरह मैं आपको ये पेश कर रहा हूं, आप पाओगे कि दरअसल कोई भी गुरु, संत, महात्मा इस तरह इसको पेश नहीं करते हैं। पेश ना करने का कारण ये है कि उन सबको अपना एक दुकान चलाना होता है। तो जैसे मैं भी, आप मान लो एक दुकान चला रहा हूं, लेकिन मेरा दुकान थोड़ा अलग किस्म का है, तो मैं इन चीजों को खुल के बोल सकता हूं। तो इस वक्त जो दुकान चल रहा है, जो पंडित पुरोहित चला रहे हैं, या फिर जो मुल्ला चला रहे हैं, या जो पादरी चला रहे हैं, या जो बाकी धर्म में जो भी होते हैं वो लोग चला रहे हैं, ये सब दुकान के सिवा कुछ नहीं है। आपका जो भी मजहब है वो एक दुकान का एक हिस्सा है, जो भी आपका धर्म है वो दुकान का एक हिस्सा है, और जो भी आपका अध्यात्म है वो भी एक दुकान का एक हिस्सा है। तीनों दुकान का एक हिस्सा है। पर्पस या उनका उद्देश्य क्या है? किसी तरह आपके ध्यान को पकड़ के रखना, किसी तरह आपके दिमाग को पकड़ के रखना कि आप भटक मत जाओ। या तो आप नास्तिक बन जाओ, नास्तिक मतलब एथिस्ट, फिर ठीक है। या फिर आप आस्तिक बनो, वो भी ठीक है। या फिर आप आध्यात्मिक बनो, वो भी ठीक है। क्योंकि तीनों केस में आप परमात्मा के पास कभी नहीं जाओगे। तो ये जो राजा है, जो ब्रह्मांड का राजा है, ये चाहता है कि या तो आप नास्तिक रहे, या फिर आस्तिक रहे, या फिर आध्यात्मिक रहे, और 3 के अलावा आपके पास कोई चौथा ऑप्शन भी नहीं है। यहाँ जितने भी इंसान हैं, जिसको 7 बिलियन हम आज कहते हैं, पता नहीं 1 बिलियन हो गया कि नहीं, आप पाओगे ये 3 के अंदर ही अटके हुए हैं। या तो वो नास्तिक है, या आस्तिक है, या आध्यात्मिक है। और अगर आप 3 में से कोई एक हो, तो फिर आप परमात्मा के पास कभी नहीं जा पाओगे। फिर आप राजा के साथ जुड़े हुए हो। कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता कि आप अल्लाह की पूजा करते हो, या परम पिता की पूजा करते हो जो क्रिश्चियंस करते हैं, या वाहिगुरु की पूजा करते हो, या देवताओं की पूजा करते हो, या जो पारसी है वो अपने आग की पूजा करते हैं। कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, वो सब एक ही दुकान है, कोई अंतर नहीं है उन चीजों में। इन दुकानों के बीच एक दुकान और आ गया है जो मैं चला रहा हूं, ठीक है। मैं भी तो कुछ बेच रहा हूं। मेरे दुकानदारी में ज्यादा मेरा फायदा नहीं है, लेकिन फिर भी दुकानदारी तो दुकानदारी होती है। ऐसा तो नहीं कि हर दुकानदार नफे में होता है, नुकसान में भी बहुत होते हैं। तो मेरा प्रोडक्ट है परमात्मा। आप जो जिन प्रोडक्ट को खरीदते हो उनका क्या नाम है? उनका नाम है देवता, उनका नाम है भगवान, उनका नाम है ईश्वर, उनका नाम है अल्लाह, उनका नाम है वाहेगुरु, उनका नाम है परमपिता, उनका नाम है जिहोवा, उनका नाम है आउरा माजदा। ये सब प्रोडक्ट आज तक आप खरीदते थे दुकानों में जाके। एक और प्रोडक्ट आप खरीदते थे, उसका नाम है मुक्ति या मोक्ष। तो ये सब प्रोडक्ट आज तक आप खरीदते थे दुकानों के अंदर जाके। मैं आपके पास एक और प्रोडक्ट लेके आया हूँ। इसी बाजार के अंदर मैं एक और दुकान मैंने खोल दिया है, और क्योंकि मैं जानता हूँ कि कंपटीशन है, तो मैं क्या करता हूँ, फ्री देता हूँ, क्योंकि पैसा देके तो कोई खरीदेगा नहीं, तो फ्री में बांटता हूँ। बोले ये हीलिंग कार्ड लेके जाओ, इससे बात करो, 30 दिन तक बात करके देखो, लगे कि जिंदगी में थोड़ा फर्क आ रहा है, तो 30 दिन के बाद तय कर लेना परमात्मा या राजा, क्योंकि दोनों नाव तो आपको मिलेंगे नहीं। परमात्मा अगर आप चुनते हो तो राजा बिछड़ जाएंगे, राजा को चुनते हो तो परमात्मा बिछड़ जाएंगे। तो यही चीज मैं आपके सामने आज भी लेके आया हूँ, एक नया दुकान, एक नया प्रोडक्ट जिसका नाम है परमात्मा। फ्री में मैं दूंगा, ट्राई इट आउट। 30 डेज का रिटर्न गारंटी की जरूरत नहीं है। 30 डेज के बाद वैसे भी आप चाहो तो ड्रॉप कर देना। अब आप अगर मुझे कुछ पूछे तो मैं आगे बात करूं।
सर, ये जो 30 डेज का आपने बोला है, बीच में अगर मिस हो जाए देन वो रिलीजन में नहीं आ जाएगा?
सवाल मिस होने का नहीं है। 30 डेज तो एक क्या कहते हैं, नॉट ए वेरी एग्जैक्ट 30 डेज। तो 25 दिन भी हो सकता है, 35 दिन भी हो सकता है, बीच में 5 दिन आप छोड़ भी दिए, वापस आ गए। सो टोटल 30-35 डेज जो भी है आपका, वो काफी है ये समझने के लिए क्या सही में परमात्मा मेरे जिंदगी में कुछ ऐसे देते हैं जो मेरे लिए बेहतर है, जो राजा ने मुझे नहीं दिया, या फिर अब तक मुझे राजा से जो मिला, राजा मतलब मेरे पूजा पाठ से मुझे जो मिला, या मेरे ध्यान से मुझे जो मिला, या मेरा क्रिया योग से मुझे जो मिला, या फिर राजा के दिए हुए मंत्र से मुझे जो मिला, वो मेरे लिए ज्यादा फायदे का है। तो परमात्मा कहते हैं फिर तुम उसमें चले जाओ। सो इस तरह से ये 30 डेज का अंडरस्टैंडिंग है।
अंडरस्टैंडिंग अगर बुक पढ़ने से आ जाए फिर भी 30 डेज रिक्वायर्ड है।
यूं तो ऐसा होता है कि कई लोग किताब को हाथ में लेके ही बोलते हैं हमें 30 दिन नहीं चाहिए, हमें आज तक जिस चीज की तलाश थी वो हमें मिल गया। कई लोग बोलते हैं कि ये जो फेस है इस किताब के अंदर, हमने इनको कहीं देखा है। कोई बोलते हैं हमने इनसे बात किया है। अब मैंने तो कभी उन लोगों से मिला भी नहीं हूँ, ना मैंने बात किया है, तो तब मुझे पता चलता है कि मेरा चेहरे को लेके परमात्मा कई लोगों के पास जाते हैं और कुछ उनको बोलते हैं, तो वो फीडबैक मुझे मिलता है कि ये भाई साहब तो पहले आए हुए थे, हम इनसे मिले हैं, हमने इनसे बात किया है, इन्होंने हमें मार्गदर्शन दिया है। तो ये पता चल रहा है कि परमात्मा भी यही चेहरा लेके कई जगह घूम रहे हैं। ओके, और कोई सवाल?
सर, अपने लिए तो कोई सवाल नहीं है, लेकिन परिवार के जो लोग या कुछ लोग जो चले गए हैं फिजिकल बॉडी छोड़ के, उनके लिए कुछ दुआ मांग सकते हैं कि उनकी सोल भी घर चली जाए?
परमात्मा ना बोल रहे हैं। परमात्मा बोल रहे हैं कि अगर जो चला भी गया ना, वो जहां भी है उस अवस्था में भी वो परमात्मा को चुन सकते हैं। क्योंकि ऐसा नहीं है कि कोई अगर मर जाता है तो राजा से वो अलग हो जाता है या उसका होश चला जाता है। जब कोई इंसान मर जाता है तब वो पितृलोक में वो इंसान रहता है अपनी सूक्ष्म शरीर के अंदर। वहां से भी वो अगर चाहे तो परमात्मा को चुन सकता है। अब ये उसकी मर्जी है कि वो चुनेगा या नहीं चुनेगा। अगर उसने चुन लिया तो उसकी आत्मा वापस परमात्मा के पास वापस जाएगा। अगर वो कहता है कि मुझे नहीं चुनना है, मुझे वापस मानव शरीर में जन्म लेना है और मुझे वापस इसी संसार के अंदर रहना है, तो फिर परमात्मा बोलेंगे कोई बात नहीं, तुम फिर से जन्म लो।
Good evening, sir. Can I ask in English?
हाँ, yes.
We were talking about the spirit in the last interaction we had, and also we were talking about how do we define our storyline. So could you throw some more light on it? How do I know my storyline? And if so, how do I change it with God's grace? Is it possible?
You use two words, one is spirit, another is storyline. Then you asked me, so you want to know a little more about that.
Yeah.
Then you asked me, is it possible to change the storyline or not?
Know the
No,
storyline.
before you asked me, can we know our storyline? A part of it you can know through the astrologer, if the astrologer is a good astrologer. Otherwise you cannot know. When it comes to changing the storyline, because you did not write it, so you cannot change it. It can only be changed by the one who wrote it, which is your soul. And your soul has no problem in you having suffering and pain. Because intentionally the soul wrote a story which would create your suffering and your pain. So the story is always written in such a way that a human has to go through suffering and pain. And human is not given the option to change that storyline. So that is the answer to your question. You also wanted to know something about the spirit. So spirit is not the soul. And just like that, soul is not the spirit. Then question is, what is spirit? Spirit is a part of the matrix. What is matrix? Matrix is the mind of the king. So every creation that is happening in the mind of the king and playing out in the mind of the king. We all exist within the mind of the king. And spirit is a portion of that mind which comes into every living being. The spirit comes into the virus, microorganism, and comes into the human, comes into the plant, and comes into the animals, and comes into the rocks, comes into the river, comes into the sea. So spirit comes into everything, because if there is no spirit, that thing cannot exist. Anything that exists has a part of the mind of the king, which we call as the spirit. Now, what is the role of the spirit in the life of the human? Because we are not interested in cats and dogs and plants. We are interested in us. So what is the role of the spirit in our life? The role of the spirit in our life is, spirit reads the script which is written by the soul before we are born. When we are born, and as we are getting developed in the womb of our mother, spirit creates our body and mind according to that storyline. And after we are born, the spirit creates our personality according to the storyline. So body, mind, personality, three things are created by the spirit according to the storyline. That leaves two more things in us. The first thing, which is the fourth thing, is known as the energy bodies. So we all know that we have energy bodies apart from the physical body. And the fifth thing is the spirit. So we are nothing but a combination of five things: physical body, mind, personality, energy bodies, and spirit. When Ramana Maharshi asked that question, who am I? Everybody was going into the wrong direction, including Ramana Maharshi. What was the direction everyone was going to? You have any idea about Ramana Maharshi?
No, I have read some of his literature, but not very sure.
Do you know in what direction he was pushing the people?
No idea. Maybe it is spirit.
It was consciousness.
Now, consciousness is different from spirit. Now,
Yes.
if I may understand, is the spirit universal, or is it, it goes into different parts of different beings and then operate, or is it having a connection?
First thing you have to understand how the spirit is. And if I give you an analogy, it is like the wave in the ocean. When a wave rises from the water or the surface of the ocean, it has its own personality. It could be a small wave, a big wave. It could be having a less water, more water. It could be having a huge force or less force. But it is still the ocean, still connected with the ocean. In the same way, our spirit is like that. It is connected with the matrix. It arises from the matrix because your spirit is not my spirit. Both are distinctly different and yet both will merge in the same matrix. In that way, it is universal. But spirit is not what Ramana Maharshi was pushing people to. He was pushing people towards consciousness. Because every spiritual person believes that we are also consciousness. But God came and said, you have zero consciousness. Your enlightened masters have zero consciousness. Your Buddha, Mahavira and the most highest of the masters, they have zero consciousness. Why does God say that? God says that you have awareness, and people assume awareness to be consciousness. But awareness is an aspect of the spirit, not an aspect of anything else. Consciousness is an aspect of God. And because God was not in this universe till 2015, no one has consciousness. It is only after 2015 that people started having consciousness. Only those people whom God was giving them an opportunity to choose God. Because with your mind you cannot choose God. You need consciousness to choose God. And so every person who was coming nearer to God, God would give them consciousness, an opportunity that will the mind prevail or will the consciousness prevail. When mind prevails, that person said, I am not interested in God. I know who my God is. I already have a God. I worship my God and I do not want any other God in my life. But when people have consciousness or when consciousness prevails, then that person says, I am no more interested in religion. I am no more interested in spirituality. I now want only God. The choice becomes very clear for that person. So, even as a human, I do not know whether the mind will prevail or consciousness will prevail. Very difficult to know. Most of the time, for most people, mind prevails. They do not choose God. So no person, no human has got any consciousness. What Ramana Maharshi had is known as awareness. And awareness is an aspect of the spirit, which the spirit gives to the human who becomes enlightened. So that is an understanding of the spirit. You have now a little more clarity about spirit?
Yes, thank you. And may I ask?
Yes, yes.
You had told that the mind body, which is not going, which you have to leave and go, and the thing that reaches the God is energy bodies, right?
Yes.
So if how do we empower these energy bodies so that that nurtures our soul? That is first question. And second one would be, if the soul were to write the storyline with the spirit and which is working against you, how do I combat the life and how do I prepare myself so that, other than asking the grace of God every time, how do I become more conscious?
Okay, you asked me two questions, so now ask me the first question again.
How do we empower our energy bodies which are going to reach the soul?
You cannot do that.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be written in the storyline that the energy bodies of a particular person will get activated at that particular age. If it is not written in the storyline, the spirit will not do anything to your energy bodies. You cannot activate your energy bodies through spiritual practice, through meditation, through Kriya Yoga and through mantra. You cannot do that. Only the spirit can do that if it is in the storyline and if the time has come for it to happen. Which means if it is written that at the age of 50 it will happen, then that person has to wait till the age of 50 for it to happen. So you cannot empower or activate the energy bodies.
So how do we know what is storyline? Because every time we feel that it is revealing itself, or can we...
The storyline cannot be known in advance. It gets revealed in the moment. It cannot be known. Even the astrologers can give you only a rough idea of a few events in the future. It cannot give you moment to moment information. So do not spend time in wanting to know the storyline. Do not spend time in trying to activate the energy bodies. Instead, what do you spend your time on? First, make a clear choice, God or King. There is no third option. King is by default, which every person has chosen, whether that person is an atheist, whether that person is religious, or whether that person is spiritual. In all the three cases, the human has chosen the king. Now the choice is given. Do you want to choose God and let go of the king? People ask this question, how will I benefit if I choose God? And I tell them I have no idea whether at all you will be benefited or not. If you ask me, I never got any benefit. I cannot tell people I got lots of money. I cannot tell people that I became very healthy. I cannot tell people that I became something more than what I was. No, I did not become any of those things. So God never gave me anything which humans normally want. I cannot tell that it has greatly benefited my family. So as a human, whatever the human wants, I did not get anything. So why should I give other humans a false hope? But still the question comes, why do I tell them try out God for 30 days? Because at the end of 30 days there are many people, thousands of people who have come and told me that thank you for giving us God, for introducing us to God, for giving us to clarity about who is God and who is not God, and for giving us the mantra which will keep us connected to God throughout the day. Now, because so many people came and thanked me, then I said there must be something that God is giving. And then a tagline was created that if you choose God, nothing will change in your life, and yet something will change. And whatever this change happens will be much more beautiful than if you come and say that my business has grown, I have become free from all these diseases, my relationships are going great, my visa, I have got visa, or I have got a job, or my business has become 10 times. No, these are the things which will only give you pain down the line. There is nothing the world can give you which will truly give you thankfulness, which will truly give you that thank God that I got God. And yet God gives something which we cannot put into language. And that is so beautiful that then we don't want to let go of God. Only because I have seen thousands of people saying like this, that is why I am continuing this work. That is why I have kept my shop open. That is why I am still selling God. That is why I am still talking about God. That is why I am saying here is a product available which is GOD and which is not KING. And why don't you give it a try for 30 days? You have nothing to lose. So this is the way I carry out my work. And you had another question.
Yeah, the second question was, if I were to be a soul, or the so-called, other than the body and the mind, now why would the soul write with the spirit a sorrow storyline or having the suffering? And then whenever we are progressing, materialistically we are progressing, we feel that we can do more, immediately we create hurdles. We create our own hurdles. So how do we go about and live the life?
So your question is, why do the soul write stories that create pain in us?
Exactly.
That create suffering in us?
Exactly.
The reason for that is the soul itself doesn't go through pain and suffering. Number one. Number two, the soul is forced to write that story by the king. That no matter what story you write, that is up to you. In the end, the human must suffer and have pain. So the soul is under compulsion. So number one is soul doesn't care because soul is going to have no pain, no suffering. And number two, the soul cannot write a story which is beautiful because the soul is forced to write stories which are not beautiful. These are the two reasons why our stories are so miserable. And can we do anything about these stories? I already answered, we cannot do anything about these stories.
And in one of the conversations you mentioned, sir, that if you look at the hierarchy, after the king it comes the soul, right? If I'm correct, then comes the rest of the deities that are the levels.
Yes.
So which means the soul is in that order, has the powers or the supremeness when compared to the other deities that we worship.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And can we connect to our souls and then,
The problem is, if you connect with your soul, the soul is not interested. The deities are interested that you connect with them, but the soul is not interested. And that is why some people who have more idea and some knowledge of what I am speaking, they say we will connect with the spirit. And spirit in our culture is known as Ishwara. You have heard the word Ishwar? So Ishwar is spirit. So they want to please the spirit, hoping the spirit will not make our life miserable. We have a term called Vidhata. Vidhata means the one who creates our destiny. So our destiny is first created in the script, and second it is created by the spirit in real life. So we have two souls which creates our destiny, and both the souls are least interested in our suffering and in our pain, and both of them want that we should suffer and have pain.
You are also spoken about Lord Shiva changing his from the king to the god. Is that still true?
From the king to the god.
Yeah, in one of the conversations I heard.
You mean changing the camp? Okay,
yes.
okay. Yeah, he has left the king and gone to God.
Which means we can worship.
No, you cannot, because the king has done like this, that if you go to a Shiva temple, you will connect with the king only and not with Shiva.
Oh.
So he is very smart. The king is very smart. So like that, Durga has changed camp, Vishnu has changed.
So how do we distinguish to worship them? Just to connect to the god, because when we tell people, worship Lord Shiva or Vishnu, it was easy. because they could connect to. Now the changed setup, how can we take the advantage and propose God is my question.
You cannot propose God, you can only invite them to try out God for 30 days. You cannot promote God.
Thank you, sir.
You cannot tell them to worship God, because God doesn't want to be worshipped. God says, don't worship me. God says, I don't want your devotion, I don't want your reverence, I don't want your trust, I don't want you to believe in me. I want you to be fully skeptical about me. So we always say, try out God as a utility. No one has said that try out Shiva as a utility. No one has said try out Vishnu as a utility. No one has said try out Ram as a utility. So I am the first person who talks about God and says very clearly, try out God as a utility. If you find God to be more beneficial, switch camp. If you find the king to be more beneficial, remain with the king.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
So much.
If the story is already written and we are just playing the part. So, and as you told us that you talk to God for 30 days, to card for 30 days. So, will the story change?
No, it will not change. God says that I will not change your storyline. But in your storyline, there are some gaps. Why these gaps were kept? It is because if you ever go out of your storyline, then in this gap, the spirit again brings you back into the storyline. So there are certain gaps, and God says, I will give you relief in those gaps. Now some people have bigger gaps, and they get faster relief and they get better results when they are with God. Some people have very short gaps, and these people get less results from God and they take more time to get results. Now we do not know whether you have a bigger gap or you have a smaller gap. That is the reason we say try out God for 30 days. In this 30 days, let's see how many gaps shows up and how much God graces you.
That means that if we cannot change the story, and if we accept wholeheartedly the story which is written and we are just playing the part, then how do we progress?
How do we progress? In what direction?
I mean, if the story is written, this is the end.
Yes.
And you cannot go beyond this.
Yes.
Then how do we go beyond that?
You cannot go. Neither you can go in your business, neither
Not quality.
neither you can become enlightened, neither you can become an awakened person if it is not in the storyline. Not possible.
So when will it be written?
In this lifetime it won't be written, that's the whole problem. Only in the next maybe.
Maybe. And what we should do to get it written in the next
You
life?
cannot do anything. The human cannot do anything to make sure the next life is better than this life.
If you cannot do anything, so and you accept everything, then what is the path?
The spirit will not allow you to accept. Even if you have heard me now, by the time you reach your home and by the time you have had a sleep and next day morning when you get up, you will find these words to be hollow, to be empty, and very soon you will forget these words. You will remember the word of the Guru who said, you can change your life. You will remember the words of the Master who said, you can change your life. You will remember the words of those enlightened ones who say you can change your life. You will not remember my words. How many people come into the public domain and say there is nothing you can do. You are wasting your time by trying.
Then what do we do?
Exactly. That's why the shop closes down. The reason my shop has not yet closed down because God is still delivering without you doing anything.
ये तो बात ही खत्म. ये हम कुछ कर ही नहीं सकते. स्टोरी भी नहीं बदल सकते.
If you examine your life, you will see that you could do nothing. If you can really examine, I examined my life a long time back, and I found not only my life, I examined the life of all the people who were close to me. I examined the life of all the people who came in touch with me, and I found they cannot do anything.
That means the ego, if we leave the ego कि हम कुछ कर ही नहीं सकते, बात ही खत्म, then maybe.
Then two things happen. Number one, you will go into depression, huge depression. And number two, you will start laughing and dancing. Both possibilities are there. When you really get that, you cannot do anything.
मतलब लाइफ में हम सोचते हैं ये एनलाइटनमेंट, मुक्ति, मोक्षा, फ्रीडम, ये सब नथिंग.
No, they happen, but only if it is in the storyline.
ठीक है, I will read the book.
You are struggling.
Thank you so much.
I know.
Is God the ultimate truth?
God is the only truth. What is the definition of truth? The definition of truth is that which does not change, that which is eternal. That is the definition of truth. Okay? Now, why king is not the truth? Why Shiva is not the truth? For the simple reason that they all die and they are born again. And anything that dies is not the truth. So anything which is within time and space is not the truth. Anything which is in the mind is not the truth. Only consciousness is the truth. But there is no consciousness in our universe. Only God is consciousness. And souls were consciousness, but when they went against God, they partly took on the mind of the king. So souls are like some consciousness and some mind. Yes.
Dear God, my mother stays at my hometown near Delhi. Last year, around October, November time frame, she was here. And she saw me that I'm reading the book and doing mantra. Then there was one online event where you gave the mantra as well, and luckily me and my mother were watching. And then I checked with you that my mother.
I gave you mantra on online event.
in-
Okay. Yes, I remember now.
And then I had checked with you that she got the mantra like that. That can she continue doing it? So after you confirmed, I asked her that you can do mantra. So she started doing mantra, and at that time, means she was following whatever regular puja she does. And we saw some very positive changes in her. Earlier, she used to be extremely worried, tensed on small things. And then for last 6-7 months, she is in her hometown. She used to tell me that I am doing mantra daily. And then couple of months back, when I came to know that that you have to choose God, you cannot continue both. So then I asked her that the direction is that you cannot do both. If you have to choose. So then she said that whatever Murti Puja I am doing, I will not be able to leave it. So I said, if that's the case, then you stop doing mantra. And then last couple of months, since I had told, she has stopped. But she has said, you are the one who have asked me to stop. So we saw again that the changes, positive changes, that she again gets worried on small things and all. So at times I question myself or feel guilty that should I. Basically, what she says is, you are the one who forcefully told me not to do mantra. So at times I feel, did I do the right thing or don't know?
You did the right thing, because God says, when someone clearly is saying that I will do both, then just inform them that the mantra that you are doing will no more be useful. So it's better that you let go of the mantra. Of course, out of her anger, she is making you responsible and she is making you feel guilty.
But she doesn't say it in as many words.
I know, but that is the body language, that is the attitude with which she comes across. And it is just that she is actually angry on God, not even on you. That why would you not allow me to do my puja part, my worshipping, and why are you forcing me to take me away from the deities? Because I remember one lady came in one of my meeting and she said that our parents, they raised us, and now you are telling us to let go of our parents. So she actually said that these deities are the one who took care of us, and because of these deities we are today what we are. And just because God has come, she doesn't say that God is lesser, she knows the deities are lesser, but her point is, why should we let go of the deities? What wrong the deities have done? So I said, I do not know. I only pass on the instructions of God. I am not saying that I agree with God. In fact, I do not agree with 80% of the instructions that come from God. But I follow 100% of the instructions. Because I know that within my limited awareness, I cannot understand why God is saying what God is saying. But I also know this, that whenever I followed the will of God, in the end I found that to be the best thing I did. Even though in the beginning it would appear to be that God doesn't understand. God is very harsh. God is very cruel. God is very whatever these negative words are there. I have put those words on God. That where is your compassion? But God says, I have not come here to be compassionate to you. I have come here to give you a clear choice, God or King, the end. And I am not telling you to come to God. I am telling you be with the King. I am only telling you try me out for 30 days and drop me. So that is the way God is. So if I were you, I would drop the guilt. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
To continue with the same question, like
Okay.
not very different. My wife follows both. So she randomly comes and says something about the deities, gods, whatever she feels like. But I don't respond. I don't feel anything. I mean, I am absolutely detached with it. Sitting beside you and doing doesn't mean that I am getting into the trap of it. Okay. Your way is your way and my way is mine. And I am very peaceful and continuing the same thing. When it comes to procession, friends are there, they pull you down and make us dance. I did, but people asked me, why did you come to the darshan? It doesn't mean anything to me. Why do I come there? You asked me to dance, I invite and I'm dancing. So, does it take away any time? I never felt that I was taken away.
No, you are not taken away. You know, in Gujarat, where I come from, this Navratri time, they really dance a lot. And men, women both dance a lot. So God said dance, and they dance around a deity. And the songs that are being played out are also the songs of the deity. So God says dance, enjoy the dancing, but don't go and start worshipping. So God is very clear, because God says enjoy life. And if you can enjoy the dance, which is by itself so beautiful. Why it is beautiful? Because every part of your body gets involved in that activity. That is why it is so beautiful. But you don't have to take it to the next step of worshipping the deities. That is not dance. That is trying to please the deity to give you something or to stop something bad from happening. So dance, no problem. Worshipping is no.
How about singing?
No, God says don't sing. Like don't do bhajans and all those things.
Just a song which comes as a Kishorda.
Bollywood songs, just be very clear that you don't get involved with the deities. Okay?
Just a humming thing which comes, Kishorda songs are so used to. And not God songs.
No, then there is no problem.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So in continuation of what the gentleman just said, so don't you think that is a dual life that a person is living in this body? Like I also am the same. I think I'm sailing in the same boat. Like now this Karwa Chauth is coming, so I hosted a party in my house. But I know that I am doing it for just for my pleasure, and not
God says
for any return. For not any return.
if you वो सच धज के बोलते हैं, if you do that, no issue, party, no issue, celebration, no issue, don't bring in the deities, the end. Just continue. And if you want to wish your husband to outlive you, that is all basically you need. You don't want him to live for 100 years. It's just that after I die, you go. That is enough for me. So that much you can always wish.
And same goes for other religious ceremonies as well, like Diwali.
Religious ceremony, yeah, people ask me, can we do the lighting? God says, do as much lighting as you want, as much diya, but don't take your diya in front of that Devi. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah, this is a question from my mother. So, since childhood, she has suffering with some other problems. Like in the childhood itself, she lost her father. She suffered a lot. Even after marriage, in-laws and those things, that suffering was there. And now we lost our father, and she is suffering with some other problem. So one day she asked me, "Is really God is there? If yes, why he is suffering continuously suffering us?" So what do you say, sir?
You have read the book?
No, not.
Okay. Now first thing, distinguishing what is God and what is not God. Since you did not read the book, I am just shortly saying. Up to 2015, there was no God in this universe. But everyone has been worshipping God. So who was that God that people were worshipping before 2015 and even after that? That God is known as the King. But when I say King, what does it mean to the common people? It just means that you know the name Mahadev, you know the name Allah, you know the name Jehovah or Father, Vaheguru. These are all the King, same personality. That means everyone was worshipping the King, everyone was wanting to please the King, but in the end everyone was suffering. So this suffering was given to them by the God they were worshipping. The God I bring into the picture is not that God. Not the God you have in your temple, not the God you have in your puja room, not the God you say who is within you. I am not talking about any of these gods. So when your mother asks why God is giving us so much pain, I want to clarify it is the King who is giving the pain and not God. And why King is giving pain? Because only by giving pain the King is able to create lot of food for the King. Our negative thoughts, feelings and emotions are the food for the King. Okay? Did you get that? Whatever I say?
You mean like if we don't have problems, then we won't worship God?
No, I mean the God is forcing you to worship God.
By creating the problems.
By giving you problems. And those people who say I don't believe in God, you will find they are people who have got a very strong personality and they say we will fight it out without God. So they say we don't believe in God.
Yeah.
Okay?
Some problems we can fight, sir,
Yeah.
because some of the problems that won't be in our hands.
Actually, no problem is in our hand, but it seems we can tackle them.
Yeah. At least if we put the effort, some problems we can.
Some problems get sorted out, that I agree. But if you really closely examine, you will see it didn't get sorted out because of your efforts. Something happened beyond your efforts because of which it got sorted out. Someone was willing to cooperate, not because you asked them to cooperate. Someone was willing to be kind. Someone was willing to go out of the way to help. That is how they all get sorted out. Not because you got up 6 o'clock in the morning and then started running all around to sort it out.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
do we have a concept called karma near the God? Like you do good, you get good. You do bad, you get bad. Something of that sort.
There is a concept of karma, and yet there is no karma. Now, the way I am talking, I am like contradicting myself. So first I said there is karma, and then I said there is no karma. Now, why did I say this? In order for karma to be there, you have to have free will, but you have no free will. A puppet cannot create karma. That is why there is no karma. But yet I am saying there is karma. Why am I saying it? Because the spirit is making you take certain actions which are creating certain consequences, which is creating karma. But you are forced to create karma, not through free will, and that is why there is karma. Did you get both the sides or not yet clear?
I'm a little bit clear, but
Still not clear. So first thing I told you that a human being is 5 things: physical body, mind, personality, energy bodies, and the last one is spirit. Okay? Now spirit doesn't create karma, we keep that aside. Physical body has no free will, it is working on its own, so it doesn't create karma. Your personality is nothing but programmed to act in a certain way, and if you are already programmed, you have no option to act in any other way. So someone is forcing you to create karma through your personality. That is why there is karma. But at the same time I say there is no karma. Why do I say that? Because some people believe if I do good karma, I will go to heaven, and if I do bad karma, I will go to hell. But I have gone through everything, the upper world and the lower world. There is no heaven, there is no hell. And if there is no heaven and there is no hell, how can you do good karma in order to go to heaven? That means there is no good karma and there is no bad karma. And yet there is karma. Because on the basis of the karma, your next storyline is going to be written. Without karma, they cannot write a storyline. So when I talk about everything, it becomes a little complicated. So maybe you will have these recordings and you listen to it again and again, and with the grace of God, more clarity will start coming in. Okay? Thank you.
Namaste, sir.
Namaste.
If somebody gives prasadam, can we take?
God is saying no.
Okay. If somebody calls for puja, as a spectator, can we go?
Again, God is saying no. But if you have to go, do not sit in the puja, sit in another room. It's like, I have come to wish you well, but I am not a part of the puja. So God says, let the message go out, you have nothing to do with the deities. Why are you so scared? Why are you scared of what people will say? Why are you scared of people judging you? Why are you scared of people criticizing you? They will say that you have been fooled. My wife says that I have been fooled. And I say, yeah, true. Now I go out and fool others. And many people are getting fooled. So when you become humorous, they cannot carry forward that conversation. Only when you become defensive, now you are going to lose that battle. Do not try to convince the other person that you are right. Always say, I think I am wrong. Then they will say, then why are you continuing? Just to check out how much I am wrong.
Okay.
So this becomes very humorous. And then they are like, okay, continue.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste, God and Goddess.
Namaste.
I wanted to know how we can recognize consciousness, and is there any hope of increasing it?
God says, I will only give you that much consciousness which you need to choose me, and I will not give you more consciousness. Your mind will still be the dominant reality. That is number one. So you cannot increase your consciousness. But you can keep praying that even if I lose my awareness and step into the world of the king through my puja or my spiritual practice, please remind me that I had chosen you, and so that I can choose you again. So this is the only thing you can keep telling God. Remind me.
Thank you, God.
Thank you.
Namaskaram, sir.
Namaskar.
My mother always insists me to do puja on Saturdays.
Yes.
I do accordingly, but I don't worship. Shall I continue like that?
If you ask God, then God will say no. But whatever you are doing, it is up to you.
Yeah, she is now in 71, so she is not able to understand our concept.
It is not about understanding our concept. It is about telling them that whatever you have chosen, I have chosen a different path. I am not saying your path is wrong, but that is not my path. You want to do puja, you do it. But you do not get the strength to say that, because you are always scared that your mother will get hurt.
Yes.
And you don't want to hurt your mother because she is so aged.
Exactly, sir.
But you are willing to hurt yourself, and you are willing to disconnect from God for the sake of your mother.
No.
Now it is a question of you valuing what is more important for you, God or mother.
God.
I am not saying which one is right. It is your choice. But at least be authentic in your choice. Don't be inauthentic. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, dear God
Yes.
and Goddess, not a question, but I still wanted to call it out. See, earlier, whenever these sessions used to happen on Zoom or recordings, you used to be alone. And now, the last couple of months, both of you are there. So, whenever I have gone through the recordings, right, the last couple of months, when I look at sessions, mostly video recordings, YouTube, where both of you are there, it's me, but if I can tell in Hindi, बहुत आनंद आता है. I don't know why. So somehow, even if I'm sleeping at 1:30, 2 a.m., I will just put a video, even though I may not have any question, I may have gone through it already, just to look at both of you for 5-10 minutes and then fall asleep. I don't know what. Today also, while I asked a couple of questions, but I just came for that anand.
It came from that joy. Okay. Actually, you might have seen the transition happening, that up to a point I was all alone, and then now she is beside me, and it is because the work is changing. How exactly it is changing, I have no idea, but as she represents the goddess and is the goddess, God says that goddess is not now taken over the work, even though I will be speaking to the rational mind, but it is she who will be doing the main work among the humans, through the videos, through these sessions, through people seeing her face, and even though they will be looking at a human face, and many a times she is so tired, many a times she is so exhausted, many a times she is so struggling with all the energies that are flowing through her, many a times she almost wants to lie down, she almost wants to get up and go away, because it is so intolerable for the body and the biology, whatever she is actually transmitting. But it is she who is now doing the main work. I just sit here and answer people's questions. And that is just the understanding that I want to give you. It is she who is in the forefront. It is she who is doing the main work. It is she who is bringing in whatever that God wanted to bring in.
Sure. Thank you for for this.
Thank you.
May I?
Yes.
Sir, I just had a dilemma. Prior to getting introduced to the God, we had a lot of commitments or so-called mannat with the king. Now, having come here, do we go back and fulfill those or just leave it?
God says just leave it, because mannat is another way of entangling you with the king over a period of time. Just drop it, because there is no more karma that you are going to create. This is your last life once you are with God. And I just want to make it clear again, and I have done it earlier also. If you have seen the face of God, even for less than 1 second, if you have heard the voice of God, even for less than 1 second, if you have talked to the healing card, if you have talked to the book, or if you have read the book, this becomes your last life. Even after doing that, if you go back to the king and do all your pujas and all your meditation, no problem, this is your last life. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Pranam God.
Yes.
I just wanted to ask one thing. I have gone through the book that you have mentioned that king want us to be entangled in the world, and it is the soul who writes a script and we are following that script. And then again you have mentioned that within time our soul have been given the authority to choose some people who will be freed from this world. So how, see, we all are human, we all are filled with greed and all other vices which are common among all the humans. So how should I get selected by those souls so that they can write a script for me so that I get freed from this world?
You cannot do that. The moment you die, there is no more you. And while you are alive, the soul is not going to listen to you.
Is there any possibility, like, say, all humans are filled with greed, they wanted always some shortcuts to get escape from everything. So there is no possibility of that?
No possibility.
And God, I have one more thing. As a normal human being, we look towards God. Let it call the Kal, the king. When we feel weak, like we want something and we feel okay, maybe there is some probability that we'll get that thing and we'll not. Then we look towards God. Okay, God, please help me. Sometimes we get succeed also. Then we believe, okay, the Kal, the king, is the true God. Why this happens?
Why what happens?
Why this sometime when we pray, okay, God.
Sometimes you get results.
Yes. That's what I'm asking.
The first thing to understand is king has no interest in giving results to everyone. But if king doesn't give results to a few people now and then people will stop worshipping the king. God says right from the beginning, I will not give you what you want, but whatever I will give you will be better than what you want. So God is very clear right from the beginning. And the king says, I will give you what you want, but doesn't give that except to a few, and that also once or twice. Because the king wants that everyone should continue to go to the temples, to go to the church, to go to the Gurdwara and all these things.
I just wanted to ask one more question if you allow me.
Please.
You have explained the concept of different energy like our body goes through. Before the chapter you have mentioned this Kal and all this soul is writing script. Can you please explain that bit more, because I feel that thing very interesting. Like how our body will transform from one energy to other. There you have mentioned I think 8 or 10.
You're talking about the
energy
bodies.
Yes, right.
That's a theoretical understanding that I give. And in that theoretical understanding, the journey is like this. If your first energy body, the astral energy body gets activated, all your desires become zero. You are now awakened. In Hindi we call it Mukt Manas. If your second energy body gets activated, mental energy body, you are now full of bliss. Earlier you were full of peace. Now you are full of bliss. Anandmay. Okay? Now what happens when you are at peace? you become an observer of life. When you are full of bliss, you are no more interested in life. You want to go inside your bliss and want to remain there. So many a times we say that person has gone into samadhi. These are two bodies. If your third body gets activated, your awareness expands. Now your awareness is beyond your five senses. You have extrasensory perceptions. If your fourth body gets activated, which is the electromagnetic body, then you start getting supernatural powers, which we call as siddhi. If your fifth body gets activated, now you are fully enlightened. Up to the fourth body activation, you were sourced by the spirit. After your fifth body activation, you will now be sourced by your soul and not by your spirit. When your sixth body gets activated, you become a planetary god, which means now you are eligible to have your own planet and play with whatever creation you want to do in your planet. If your seventh body gets activated, you become a solar god, which means you now become eligible to have your own solar system and play with multiple planets and one sun. If your eighth body gets activated, you now become a galactic god, which means you will have a galaxy to play with. If your ninth body gets activated, you become the universal god, which means you will have your own universe to play with. So the king has 21 universes, each one has a universal god. So there are 21 universal gods. If your 10th body gets activated, you now enter the realm of the Barbello. You become a god of Barbello. Barbello is the place from where all creation emerges. That means you are now becoming a creator god. And when your 11th energy body gets activated, you are now in the realm of the great spirit. Hardly anyone reaches there. Shiva is at that place. Vishnu is not at that place. So this is known as the realm of the great spirit. You are now referred to as the great spirit. Theoretically, this is the journey of the 11 energy bodies.
Thank you, God. I just have one more question. I just wanted to ask, how can I get through this cycle? Like, is there any possibility that a common man who is filled with greed and all these things, greed, sorrow, pain, everything, can activate his body so that he can achieve all these energies?
No human being can activate their bodies. First, it has to be written in the storyline before you are born. If it is written in the storyline 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, how many bodies, whatever is written, the spirit will activate it when the time comes. You can do nothing to activate your energy bodies.
God, as I can do nothing to activate my energy body, then what is the path that I should follow in my day-to-day life?
You can become like me. I just pass my time.
If I'll be that fortunate, then that is great. But like a normal human being, like suppose I'm a beginner, I've just met.
You see, you always talk about having a lot of greed and all those. There's nothing wrong with it. Be in your greed, be in your ambitions, be in your goals. As such, you are only passing your time. What's wrong if you can progress in your job, in your business, in your knowledge, in your whatever else you are in? Nothing wrong. Play with it 100%.
Thank you, God. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Why did you choose this word God?
I didn't choose. God gave me that word. I have chosen nothing. When he came to me, I asked him, who are you? He said, I am God. I said, I know many gods. Which one? He said, no, I am the ultimate. I said, anyone above you? He said, no one. I said, okay, if you say so. But I don't trust you. I don't believe in you. I am not going to accept you. 5 years I didn't do that.
Thank you.
Okay.
In continuation of that question, just now you said all the body's activation, if in our storyline is there, then only it happens.
Yes. Yes.
Suppose if you select the god, we bypass all these things.
God will not activate any of your energy bodies.
Okay. So
God is saying die fast. Die fast.
Okay.
Don't live any second longer than you have to live.
Okay. Okay. And one more question.
Yes.
Can we donate our body?
No, God says don't do that. Burn everything.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Sir,
Yes.
thank you for enlightening us with those energy bodies. Now, if you were to, I don't know whether we experienced, now where is the God that we are talking coming from?
Where is God?
Yeah, it's beyond these energy bodies, or did He create this? The 11 energy bodies and then the universes. So,
God created the 11 energy bodies and God created the universe. But every creation in the universe was done by the King. So the planet Earth on which we are right now, it is created by God.
created by God.
But the sea and the mountains is created by the King.
How do we know which is created by the Creator and which is created by the God?
You have to know how to talk with God, because only God can give all these clarifications.
Please teach us.
I cannot teach you. If it is the will of God, it will happen.
So be it.
But there are people who talk with God, get the answers from God, and then they follow the will of God. Okay?
Can you talk about book and how to use cards?
How to use the book and the card? Yes. So for those people who are here, Monica said just let me tell you about the book and the healing cards. So first I start with the book. This is the book. It's in 5 languages. English is message from God. You can talk to the picture about all your pain, about all your suffering, about all your anxiety, about all your miseries, anything that is upsetting you, anything which is not to your liking, just keep on talking. At the end of 30 days, just see what is the difference coming in your life. Are you having a little more ease? Are you having a little more peace? Are you having a little less turmoil in your life? Are you feeling internally sorted out? Those will be the indications of the grace of God happening in your life. So this is one way you can use the book. Of course you can read it, but if you read it, it depends. Sometimes you will get it absolutely immediately. Sometimes it takes multiple readings, and sometimes it's like, how can it be true? And that makes the book to be pushed away. Whatever you are going to do to the book, you can also do that to this healing card. Just talk to the card. If you have the book, better talk to the book. If you do not have the book, talk to the card. If this paper card is not there with you, download the digital card from alakhgod.com. Alakh, ALAKHGOD.com. The digital card can be downloaded. You can talk to the digital card. Again, do it for 30 days. The website tells you everything about how to do it. At the end of 30 days, decide, prepare a report card for God. Was God really beneficial for you or not? If God was beneficial, continue with God. If God was not beneficial, continue with the King. So if you have any questions regarding this, I can go further.
I have the conversations with my daughter. So one of the things that came up, I'm just clarifying it with you.
Yes.
Everyone has, mind which has various features like greed, anger, jealousy, rage, fury, everything. What happens when we connect, individually you connect to those energies? Because every human being has these feature of having all these energies, anger, fear, whatever we are having. The moment we realize that I have become angry at the moment, and then I connect that I become anger because I'm accessing all the energies of anger and it is coming into me. The moment I realize that this is an anger which is engulfing me, I just say that I am just returning it. This is not mine. I am just stepping back. Then I find that there is a relief. Okay, so it can happen with any emotion that we are going through, and then I am finding a relief in this. Can we do this?
You see, in the domain of the king, there are many beautiful modalities, healing modalities,
Right.
sorting out modalities, therapies. I am not saying they are not good. They are very beautiful, very effective, very result oriented, very soothing, yet they connect you with the king. Now first make a clear choice, God or king. If it is God, then say all these things to God.
Okay. And
But
ask
if
for
you are
relief.
like, no, that modality is important for me, that means you are indirectly saying, I choose the king and not God.
Okay.
So that's all I am saying. I am not saying they don't work, and I am not saying you must not practice them. They are beautiful. I have played with many of the modalities which came from the domain of the king.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, God.
Good evening.
This is regarding what she was telling right now. I return it back and whatever she said. I did it all my life, God, before I came to you. No modality worked.
But in her case, she says
And-
she is getting results.
That's
You were
what
also getting
I am-
results?
No, that's what I'm telling. There are other ways also. There are people who are doing the same thing and not getting results is there also. So it's again, you say, no, it's storyline. So for me, I went to modalities
It
after
is true.
modalities.
It is true that people get results in modalities only because of storyline. But when someone says I am getting results, I say good. But when they say should I continue or not, then I say this is connecting you with the king. If you want to be with God, then speak to the book or the card.
Yeah, so I'm just sharing
You
that.
did not get results because it was not in your storyline.
Yes, correct. But then when I came to God, it was a very different experience for me. You know, it's not that in one go everything became better for me. But the day, as I kept going, as I kept praying to God, so many things became better. So thankful. That's what I
Okay,
can say.
thank you. So thank you all very much for coming to this beautiful evening. Thank you.